5 seasons, 117 episodes. The blended family that taught a generation what home was supposed to look like. But what happened to the people inside that house is stranger and darker than anything the writers put on the page. And 3 of them didn't make it to tell the story themselves. 57 years later, here's what's left. A career-ending audition. A secret carried to the grave. 2 Emmys abandoned for a homeless shelter. A face full of bruises nobody talked about for 56 years. This is the side of Brady Bunch the reruns never showed. You know that line. Everyone does. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. 3 words that became shorthand for an entire generation's childhood. Maureen McCormick was 14 when she first walked onto that set. She played the girl who had everything. For 5 seasons, she was America's oldest daughter. Patient, perfect, smiling on cue. What the cameras never showed. She was terrified. Her family carried a secret she had no language for as a child. Her grandmother died in a psychiatric institution from syphilis contracted during World War I. Her grandfather took his own life 1 week later. Her mother was born with the disease already in her blood. Maureen grew up fearing she would inherit the same fate. When the show ended in 1974, she found cocaine. For 5 years, she moved through Hollywood on fumes. She traded sex for drugs with her dealer. In 1980, Steven Spielberg brought her in for Raiders of the Lost Ark. She showed up having not slept in 3 days. He handed her an orange and thanked her for coming. She got sober in 1985, not because of rehab, not because of a program, but because the man she loved said, "If you ever do this again, I'm gone." She is 69 years old now, more than 40 years clean, still performing. The girl who played perfect never was. The woman who survived it didn't have to be. On the evening of November 21st, 2016, a woman in an ivory turtleneck sat in the studio audience of Dancing with the Stars. She was smiling. She was waving at the cameras. 3 days later, she was gone. That woman was Florence Henderson, Carol Brady, the mother America wished it had. She was born the youngest of 10 children to a tobacco sharecropper in Dale, Indiana. Depression-era poverty, so deep that she and her siblings slept 4 to a bed for warmth. Her father was an alcoholic. Music was the only thing her mother could give her. By age 6, she was singing for money. She built a Broadway career that most people never knew existed. She originated the lead in Fanny in 1954. She was the first woman to guest host The Tonight Show. Then Brady Bunch happened, and Carol Brady swallowed everything else. What she never said on camera, she had been managing heart disease for decades. A childhood murmur, a valve repair surgery, irregular heartbeats she quietly learned to live around. And in her memoir, she admitted something else entirely. While playing the perfect wife on television, she was having an affair. One night at the Beverly Hills Hotel with New York's Mayor John Lindsay, she woke up the next morning with crabs. "Guess I learned the hard way," she wrote, "that crabs do not discriminate." She died on Thanksgiving Day, surrounded by her 4 children. The last thing she did on television was cheer for Marcia Brady. She never stopped showing up for the people she loved, even at the very end. Every week for 5 seasons, he sat at the head of that table, patient, steady, the kind of father that made a generation of kids wish their own dad was more like him. Nobody on set ever asked him about his personal life, and he never offered. That man was Robert Reed, Mike Brady, America's perfect father. He was born John Robert Reitz Jr. in Highland Park, Illinois. He trained at Northwestern, then at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London. He replaced Robert Redford on Broadway. He was nominated for 3 Emmy Awards. He was a Shakespearean actor who spent 5 years arguing with a sitcom creator about strawberries. And he was gay, completely, privately, irrevocably gay, in an era when that word alone could end a career. His castmates knew. Florence Henderson knew. Nobody said a word. Not to him, not to anyone. He played the devoted husband on screen every week while living a life he was never permitted to name. In November 1991, He was diagnosed with colon lymphoma. He allowed only his daughter and one close friend to visit. Weeks before he died, he called Florence Henderson, not to say goodbye, but to ask her to tell the others for him. He died on May 12, 1992, 59 years old. His death certificate listed HIV as a contributing condition. The announcement said cancer. He spent his whole life performing. The tragedy is that the truest performance, the one nobody saw, was the one he gave every single day, just by showing up. 2 Emmy Awards, a Hollywood Walk of Fame star, the most beloved housekeeper in television history. Ann B. Davis walked away from all of it. In 1976, Davis sold her Los Angeles home and moved to Denver, Colorado, to join a communal household of evangelical Episcopalians led by a bishop named William Fry. She shared a bedroom with 2 other single women. She did laundry at a homeless shelter. She woke up at 6:30 for Bible study. She stayed with that community for 38 years. When Frey relocated, she followed to Pennsylvania, then to San Antonio. She never married. She had no children. In 1988, a game show contestant buzzed in and announced she was dead. Davis was watching from the community's living room. She stood up and shouted at the screen, "I am not!" She fell in her bathroom on May 31st, 2014. A subdural hematoma. She never regained consciousness. She was 88. Bishop Frey made the call. Most people spend their careers chasing the spotlight. Ann B. Davis spent 4 decades quietly leaving it, and by all accounts, she was happier for it. In 2024, the oldest Brady boy said something that made headlines overnight. We all hooked up with each other at some point. That was Barry Williams, and he wasn't wrong. Williams played Greg Brady, the eldest son, the one who set the example. Off camera, he was running a very different operation. He had a teenage crush on his TV mom, Florence Henderson, 20 years his senior and married. He asked her to dinner. She said yes. He called it a date. She called it sweet. He also dated his TV sister Maureen McCormick on and off throughout filming. Christopher Knight dated Eve Plum. Mike Lookenland and Susan Olsen had a mock wedding. 3 marriages followed the show. The second ended with his wife requesting supervised visits for their 2-year-old son. The third, to Tina Mahina in 2017, has lasted. He is 71 now, still performing, still talking. Barry Williams never pretended the Brady years were simpler than they were. That honesty, more than anything, is what kept him standing. If you grew up watching The Brady Bunch, you know Jan Brady's problem. Too much Marcia, not enough Jan. The middle child, always in someone else's shadow. The actress who played her never had that problem. Eve Plum was 11 when she was cast. Already the most experienced child actor on set. She was the only original cast member who refused to sign for the Variety Hour spinoff in 1976. The show was canceled after 9 episodes. She was right. After Brady Bunch, she played a teenage prostitute in a TV movie. She auditioned for The Exorcist. She studied improv alongside Lisa Kudrow. At age 11, she bought a Malibu beach cottage for $55,000 using her Brady Bunch earnings. In 2016, she sold it for $3.9 million. She paints now, represented by galleries in New York and Scottsdale. Married to the same man since 1995. In April 2026, she published her memoir. Jan Brady spent every episode wishing she were someone else. Eve Plum spent 50 years becoming exactly who she wanted to be. Visual software. Escape Labs. Christopher Knight Home. 3 companies built by the man who played Peter Brady. Knight did not want to be an actor. He wanted to be a scientist. His father sent him to auditions to save for college tuition. Only Christopher got called back. He left acting in 1988, walked into the computer industry, and closed his first company's $1 million deal within 18 months. He co-founded a 3-dimensional graphics company. He sold a TV tuner startup. At one point, annual sales at a company he ran went from $2 million to $63 million in a single year. Then, in 2004, he appeared on The Surreal Life. He was 47. His co-star Adrienne Curry was 22. They got a spin-off. They got married on camera. They separated on their 5th wedding anniversary. His 4th marriage to Kara Kokonis in 2016 has lasted. Peter Brady became a tech executive. The tech executive became a reality star. Nobody saw any of it coming, least of all him. On the night of November 12th, 1997, a Ford Bronco rolled twice on a Utah highway. The driver's blood alcohol level was 0.258, more than 3 times the legal limit. He was booked into Washington County Jail on a $1,550 bail. That driver was Mike Lookinland, Bobby Brady, the youngest son. He had grown up Mormon in Salt Lake City. His natural hair was strawberry blonde. The show dyed it dark brown for 3 seasons, and in the summer heat, the dye ran down his face on camera. After Brady Bunch, he worked behind the scenes as a camera operator and production assistant. Somewhere along the way, alcohol became something he could no longer manage quietly. That night on the highway was the end of it. He completed court-ordered rehabilitation, stopped drinking entirely. His wife brought home a library book called How to Make Concrete Countertops. He read it. He built a company. Just Add Water still operates in Salt Lake City. He is 65 years old. He almost never gives interviews. Some people find their way back to themselves in the most unexpected places. For Bobby Brady, it was a slab of concrete. In the very first episode of The Brady Bunch, the wedding scene, 1969, if you zoom in on Cindy Brady's face, something looks slightly off. Her nose is swollen. Her eyes are puffy. That was Susan Olsen, and nobody talked about it for 56 years. She was 7 during filming of the pilot. Equipment fell from the catwalk, bounced off 2 crew members, and hit her in the face. 2 black eyes, swollen nose. The studio brought in Hal King, Lucille Ball's makeup artist from I Love Lucy, to cover the damage each day as the bruising changed color. Her family did not sue. They did not want to risk her job. The saddest news, she said in 2025, is that we didn't sue Paramount, because I would have made more off of that than the show. 3 marriages followed. Her son Michael, named after Mike Lookinland, was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. In 2016, she was fired from a radio station over her political views. She claims those same politics got her written out of a planned CBS revival. She is 64 now, still outspoken, still Cindy Brady, whether the industry wants her or not. The critics hated Gilligan's Island. They hated the Brady Bunch. Sherwood Schwartz made both of them anyway, and outlived every bad review by several decades. He was born in Passaic, New Jersey in 1916. He wanted to be a doctor. Medical schools in the 1930s had quotas limiting Jewish students. He did not get in, so he started writing jokes for Bob Hope's radio show. He forgot about medicine. He wrote both theme songs himself. He received his Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 2008 at 91 years old, with Florence Henderson kissing him on one cheek and Dawn Wells on the other. What nobody mentioned at that ceremony. Schwartz knew Robert Reed was gay. He knew during casting. He knew throughout all 5 seasons. He and Reed fought constantly about scripts, about logic, about strawberries, and neither of them ever once mentioned the thing that was actually making Reed miserable. He died on July 12th, 2011, 94 years old, married to the same woman for 69 years. He built the perfect American family out of borrowed pieces. The irony is that he understood, better than anyone, how much work it takes to make something look effortless. For 50 years, television history has blamed one person for the end of the Brady Bunch. The kid with the Dutch boy haircut. The one nobody asked for. Here is what television history got wrong. Robbie Rist was 9 when he was cast as Cousin Oliver in the final 6 episodes of Season 5. A BC had already decided not to renew the show before his first episode aired. Cousin Oliver did not end the Brady Bunch. He just happened to arrive as it was ending. The term Cousin Oliver syndrome, used today to describe any desperate attempt to save a dying show by adding an adorable child, is named after him. He is the only person in this entire cast whose name became a piece of television vocabulary. He is 62 now. Voice actor, drummer, composer of the Sharknado theme, married since 2019. "I understand why they hated Cousin Oliver," he has said. "That doesn't mean I destroyed the show." In a cast full of people who carried the weight of Brady Bunch for decades, Robbie Rist is the one who figured out how to put it down. That house on Dilling Street is still there. People drive by it every day. They take photos. They remember. What the photos never captured was what it actually cost to smile on cue for 5 seasons, to play perfect while living something else entirely, to spend a career being someone the audience needed you to be. Some of them paid that price quietly. Some paid in ways nobody saw until decades later. 3 paid with everything. The Brady Bunch didn't just sell America a family. It sold America a feeling that complicated lives could be resolved in 23 minutes, that blended families found their rhythm, that every problem had a patient father at the head of the table waiting to fix it. Nobody in that cast had that. What was your favorite episode? The one that made you believe, even for a moment, that it could be that simple?